Today we gotta hustle because this thing is driving out of here today. So we're not gonna talk too much, we're just gonna lay on the truck and fix the drive shaft. So, drive shafts. We have the Pajero drive shaft and we have the El Camino drive shaft, and that fits in there. And I have measured, and it's unbelievable, but the diameter of these two are exactly the same from what I understand. And the plan right now is this thing is long enough to be able to remove the drive shaft from the yoke here, and hopefully that yoke fits snugly into this, so we can just cut this to length. So remove that, measure how long it's gonna be, cut this accordingly, push that yoke into here, weld it, and be done. So yeah, that's just what we're gonna do. There we have the Mitsubishi drive shaft cut, and we have the El Camino drive shaft in place. Now we can just hold this and do some measuring on where we want to make our cut. And the bad thing about this is that it's supposed to be more engagement here for the drive shaft, but since they do a very big weld here, it's pretty hard to remove it to make more of a seating area for the drive shaft. But as long as we can get it on here so that we can stabilize it, and then we can get it straight, hammer it back and forth, and then we can weld. And I mean, we're not gonna have all that much horsepower, so I don't think it's gonna matter, but we could take the grinding wheel and try to get a little more of a lip here, but yeah, we'll see. But anyway, I'm gonna measure my slip, and then I can make a mark, and hopefully this thing fits straight onto there. The drive shaft, we're getting really close here, and I took the yoke and I took the grinding wheel and grind it off a little more, so I got a little more of a lip to push the drive shaft on. And it's so amazing, they had the exact same diameter, so I can just push this yoke into this drive shaft. So that made this really easy, or a lot easier. But now we need to line everything up so we don't have vibrations, and these two ends are supposed to line up like they do right now. And now obviously they can turn a little bit. So to prevent that and hopefully getting this as straight as possible, I mean, I have done this a bunch of times, bunch of different ways, and I figured out something new here today. So I mean, I'm improving. So I have this degree angle thing in my phone. So if we put this over here, we get 0 degrees, and this is self-adjusting to the floor. And this is a little bit more rounded. But if we put this here, we also have 0 degrees. So we're very close to having these things 100% lined up. And I mean, I don't think it doesn't need to be super perfect. It's not a rocket ship. So, I mean, that's going to be good. So now we know that it is good in that way. But now I'm gonna go ahead, make some tacks here, and then we can turn it over to the other side, measure again, and make 2 more tacks. And then we can put it under the car and see if it wobbles, if we have to do any modifications, or if it's good. I think it would be pretty good, I'm not sure, but I guess we'll see. So yeah, make some tacks and then check it under the truck. We have the drive shaft here in place, and a few things. First off, I'm not sure what I did wrong here, but I have cut in the drive shaft a little bit too short. Not too short, but a bit shorter than I was planning. You can see this mark here, I think is where the seal has been. And now we have a lot of slip, but we also have a lot of engagement. So I'm not worried, but I would have liked it to be half an inch longer or something like that. But I mean, I cut off an 1/8 of an inch extra here, and something went wrong, I guess. But it's going to work, that's not a problem. And so I'm not gonna bother with that. But anyway, I measured the degrees, making sure that these were straight. But something I realized that, yes, they are straight to each other, but nothing of that says how this thing is. Is it turned up or down, left or right? So it could have been very wrong, but I mean, I cut the drive shaft as straight as I could. I made this as straight as I could. And if we look here right now, and keep in mind that every time I put the hand on the drive shaft, it moves a bit, and I move the camera. I think that's really good. It's gonna work. So yeah, we're gonna weld this, or I'm probably gonna do it here on the underside to make sure that it doesn't move away somewhere. And then we'll have a drive shaft, and you just have to put the transmission crossmember in place permanently. Drive shaft done, fully welded. So now I can put that in place, and it's a bit annoying that you have Mitsubishi U-joint in the front and Chevy U-joint in the rear. I know where I can get Chevy stuff, but I don't know where I can get Mitsubishi stuff. But I mean, we're probably, it is seeming fine, but we only probably have to change it once if we need to. So yeah, I can probably find one. The rear one is really bad. One of the cups is missing needles, but for our intents and purposes right now, just to get around our backyard, we're not gonna bother with that. So I'm gonna make a list of stuff I need to fix later. I mean, we're gonna have to take all of this apart later anyway, and we can paint the drive shaft and change the U-joints and whatever. So I'm just gonna put some new grease in that and shove this in place, fix the transmission cross member so that's in place. Then we can do some more fun stuff, looking at the shifter and putting in the back in the seat and stuff like that. Drive shaft is in, it's all greased up. We need to change the U-joints later on, but that is a problem for another day. And I have gotten the transmission cross member in, all bolted up over here, all bolted up over there. So we have the original cross member flipped wrong way around. So obviously it fits in its holes, but it fits exactly where it needed to with the holes that we have. And obviously this thing fits right into this. And the only modification I have done to get this transmission up to the original cross member is I have drilled one hole there to match with this. So that's really amazing. So now the engine and trans is 100% bolted into the truck, which really is a big thing. But I was really a little bummed. I'm not going to say that I was bummed, but I wanted to have the engine and transmission bolted in 100% before we did too much. But now we finally have that, so that's really, really nice. And I mean, now we have the drive shaft, we have the clutch pedal and everything. This thing should drive the rear wheels right now. So we're gonna try that obviously, but before that I wanna put in the shifter and yeah, that's basically it, and see if we can turn the wheels. On to shifters. Here we have our original shifter for the transmission, and here we have for the transfer case. And we're gonna bolt those in, but you see that we have 4 bolts and we have 7 bolt holes, and that is because when I removed the shifters, I put the bolts in a compartment under the stereo in front of the shifter, and I forgot them when I drove the Mitsubishi to the junkyard. And I called the junkyard yesterday and asked if I can come and pick them up, and they said yes, of course. And the Pajero was a lot more dented now than when I left it, and obviously they have moved it around, and 3 of the bolts were gone and I couldn't find them. So yeah, that's too bad, but that's on me. But we have enough bolts to get these in place. So we're gonna bolt both in, because I don't know where our transfer case is right now. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna run with the transfer case shifter. I think it could be pretty cool, or if it's a fun thing when someone would look into the car and they see 2 shifters and they think, what the hell is this? But I'm not sure. But for now, we're gonna put it in and we'll see how we do in the future. So bolt this in. Let's see if this works. Otherwise, we'll be welding on this, and yeah, we'll see where it goes. Shifters are in place, and obviously this isn't going to work, and we could just bend this, but I want to run with this thing. But for what we want to do now, just see if the wheels turn. We don't have to do anything. So we can test that now, and then when we have the bench in, we can weld that in and see what angles we want and whatever. And I don't know why, I think it's a pretty cool thing to have double shifters. So I'm not sure if that's gonna stay, but I guess that will be down the road. So yeah, I'm gonna clean out some tools here, set up my camera, and then I'm gonna try if we can spin the rear wheels. And we have a bunch of more time here today, so then hopefully, if this works, but it really should, we can focus on some other stuff to maybe we can put in a radiator, maybe put on the front end again and whatever. Yeah, but we'll see. But yeah, put up the camera and see if the wheel turns. I'm sorry for the camera angle, but it's a bit tight in here right now, and this is the only angle where we can experience this together. So you will have to do, but we're gonna glow here a little bit. And we can start it. Yeah, that's really cool. We have an El Camino that is going to move under its own power, and that feels amazing after this thing has been sitting for 15 years. But we have some time here for today, so I want to improve, or I mean, we could just put it down on the ground and just to get the feeling of it moving, but there is some things that I would like to improve. I'm not sure, the clutch pedal needs improvement. It's a bit stiff, and the range of motion doesn't really feel right, but I think that I welded a tab to the brake pedal, and you get the bar from the master cylinder, and I think I'm gonna raise up the bar a little bit with a new hole, and that is going to make us stronger, having more leverage, and also increase the range of motion that the pedal needs. So I think that is, but I mean, we don't have to do that today either. This is going to work. But we're gonna look at the shifter. I wanna get the seat mounted in a little better. It's loose right now. And maybe we can put on the front end, so we can put in a radiator so that we can put some water in it, and that would be really nice. We need to hook up the brake pedal again. I have a memory of when we were loading this thing, when I bought it back, that it had brakes. We obviously don't have the hydro boost brakes, so it's going to be really hard to stop. But I mean, we can connect the brake pedal again so that we might have brakes at least. So I want to do some odds and ends here, but inevitably we are going to drive this thing out of here. Got the seat installed a little bit better, just 2 bolts on the inside. There's nothing to bolt it out here. You just put in a piece of 2x4 or whatever it is to hold it up. So yeah, it's a bit better. I connected the brake pedal. I'm not sure if the brakes work, but might as well. And now you can see how far down the brake pedal is, and I really think that this is more correct. And if we would have had the clutch pedal down here, I don't think we would have the full range of motion that we need. So the brake pedal needs to come up to here later, some other day. But that's good, and I put in this shifter and it works, but what do I want to say? It's too tall. I mean, a tall shifter is cool, but I really don't feel this is what I want in this thing. But this is temporary. We're gonna change a lot of stuff out. I hate these T-handles. I had a knob for it, but the threads didn't match, so we can't put that on right now. So yeah, we have to do a bunch of stuff later on. But now at least we can shift without hitting the dash. So yeah, that's really good. But with that said, I was thinking that we would do some more improvements here, but I having a basic panic attack here because there's stuff everywhere, there's dirt on the floor, and I just want to do some cleaning before we continue working. So my plan right now is going to put that thing down on the ground, try and drive it out of here, then we can clean up the garage, and then with whatever time we have left, we can do what we feel like. So that's my plan. Drive it out of here and do some cleaning.
we have exactly 0 brakes, which is a bit bad when this thing rolls amazingly easy, so it's really hard to stop. But it is driving, and it feels amazing that we have gotten this far in a week. So yeah, now it is at the point where I want it to be. We can drive it in and out of the garage. But we're gonna see if we can do some more improvements here today. So I'm gonna go ahead, clean up my garage, and then we can drive this in again. Maybe put on the front end or something else. I don't know right now, but we're going to do some more improvements at least. I've been cleaning the garage here, and it's almost done. I have to clean the bench and some more stuff. But then I came to the radiator that we are going to use in El Camino, and I was like, are we going to take this out of here? Are we going to keep it here? Are we going to put it on the El Camino or whatever? And I feel that I've come to a crossroad where I have to make a decision on where we take this thing. Because I would like to put in the radiator so that we could be running it for a longer time. But obviously it doesn't have any brakes, so we can't drive it anyway. And it feels very unnecessary to fix the brakes, bleed the system and all of that, and then we have to take it apart anyway when we are inevitably going to have to remove the body from the frame to do the frame swap. So that feels a bit unnecessary, and also putting on the front end, which we pretty soon will have to remove again. So I really feel that we need to take a decision on where we are going from here. And last year, I'm not sure how much of this I put on the English channel. I think this was on this channel. I put it on my Swedish channel. I think I had a break on this channel at that moment. But I was working with the 64 Chevelle that I was doing a frame. I replaced the frame. I bought a frame that was cut in half and needed rust repair and a lot of work. But I looked on my channel, and the 12th of March last year, so very exact a year ago, I put up a video where I was pretty bummed that I have taken on that kind of project, and I had a frame in here cut in half and I didn't really know where to go from there. And the 29th of March the same year, that is 14 working days later, I had that frame ready to go to put on that new body with engine trans. I have built a drive shaft, and I said I welded together a frame, I rust repaired it, and I did a bunch of work. And I also went ahead and I bought a new body. I bought a rear axle that I had to do rust repairs on the rear axle. I'm not kidding. But I mean, in 14 working days, I accomplished a lot, and now I'm at the point where I can buy a frame that is significantly better than that frame. It has a small rust hole that we can fix, and basically we can have that frame, only the frame rails, done in like 1 or 2 days. Then obviously we have to remove a bunch of stuff from the El Camino frame to move over to this new frame of ours, and we have to paint it and all of that. But I'm thinking back and forth, and I think that in maybe a week, maybe a couple of days more, we can have our new frame all done with everything that we want and ready to put on the body. Of course, the body isn't ready to put on. It is very rusty, and we need to do a bunch of repairs to that, maybe another week or so. But I really feel that that frame swap doesn't really need to become that big project. Of course it's a big project, but it doesn't have to be life or death, or you know what I mean. Maybe we can, within 3 weeks, we can do the full frame swap with repairing the body and all of that. And I really don't want to just leave the El Camino hanging right now. I'm enjoying it. I think it's fun that we have gotten to the point where we're at right now, and I want to keep working on it. So yeah, that's my plan right now. But there is a bit of a twist in that plan, and that is that not next week, but the week after that, I'm going to help a friend with his square body K20 pickup truck, because he's a contractor. You call the contractor when you're building houses and stuff, and he has been helping me on the upper floor of my house. So we are gonna exchange hours. So the amount of hours he has worked on my house, I am going to work the same amount of hours on his truck. And I think you're going to enjoy that project. It's as I said, it's a square body truck with a 6.2 diesel. We're going to put a turbo kit on it. We're going to change the injection pump and some other small stuff. So I think you're going to think that's fun to watch anyway. But that leaves us a week of time before that, and maybe that takes a week or something. So as I said, we have next week. So my plan right now is next week we can go ahead and look over the Super B and see if we can get that running. The engine is seized on this thing, and hopefully we can get it unstuck. And if it is stuck, it is basically just shove it to the side for another rainy day. But if we can get it to turn over, maybe we can get this running. As you see, the rear bumper has bent in. That's because the whole floor has bent up because the leaf springs has pushed them up. So I want to push the floor down, weld in some braces so that it will sit level again. But that's what I want to do next week. And as I said, after that, we have to work on his truck. So my plan right now is that for the time being, we're just cutting the El Camino for now, not putting in the radiator, not doing anything unnecessary. We're put it to the side, put a tarp over it for 2 weeks while we work on the Super B, work on the K20 truck, my friend's truck. And after that, we pick up the frame, or maybe I pick it up before that, but then we do the frame swap and El Camino to get it on the road instead of just ditching it and do it in the winter or whatever. Because I really feel that maybe it doesn't have to be that super big project that I'm thinking that I thought it would be in the beginning. But I'm not sure. You can feel free to tell me your opinions. Should we work on something else? Should we just park the El Camino to the winter or something? But yeah, I've gotten this far and I really want to get out that thing and start enjoying it. So yeah, that's where we are at now. So I'm going to go ahead, pick everything together from the El Camino, put it back on the truck, park it behind my containers, and then next week we can work on the Super B, and hopefully we can get that into the garage here today. The garage is all clean. I just need to get those wheels out of here. They just had to paint the inside of the rims, and I want to get that thing out of here. I thought maybe we will start it here today, but I think we will do that on Monday. Then I just want to get this out of the garage so that we will have some more space in here. But with that said, I am going to go through for now with my plan that I talked about, putting away the El Camino for about 2 weeks. We buy the frame and we do the project. And I'm not really sure, maybe we can cheap out on some stuff, but when we have the body of the frame, it's going to be a lot easier to do all the bushings in all the control arms, put on the shocks and do brake lines and all of that, and go through the brakes. So we'll see. Maybe I can cheap out on some stuff, but try to do it as much with economy in mind as possible. So with that said, we're going to take the El Camino, put it back in here, which I think is a little bit fun since we drag it out last time with the forklift, and now it will be able to park in here on its own. And obviously we have to move Ram truck and a little, or I may just put the Ram truck in here instead. We'll see, but I have to clean up here a bit. And one thing that I really, since I want to get projects going, is I want to get rid of parts. If we were working on satellite, we could get rid of that fender, we could get rid of the trunk. If we worked on the 64 Chevelle, we could get rid of that trunk lid and a front fender and a bunch of doors I have. So that's partly because the reason I want to work on certain projects is you just get rid of big parts that are taking up too much space. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna move some stuff around, and then the plan is we're gonna take the forklift and push the Super B into the garage so that we can hopefully get that thing running next week. I moved Ram truck, and I realized that, now Ram truck isn't the only moving vehicle that can sit here. Now we're gonna put in the El Camino that can drive by itself, so it might as well be the one that is the most far out. And I love my backyard on the backyard that I have created here. And you could basically fit a car in there and almost there. Almost you can have 4 rows, but we can at least have 3 rows of cars. Depending on what you have, you almost can have 2 like that, and you can have them all in here. So I mean, I can have like 7 vehicles here that you don't have to see from the house or any of the neighbors has to see. So yeah, I really like my backyard on the backyard, as I like to call it. So I really need to finish this up. Also, I have some plans. I want to get rid of these trees here so we can extend it even further here, so we could have even more space. I would like this to be more of a work area also, that we can do a lot of stuff outside. So yeah, that's really great. So also spring is in there, summer is coming, so we can do more stuff outside, including fixing all this. But I mean, it's that fun for you to watch. But anyway, I'm gonna back in the El Camino here, put a tarp over it, and then we take the forklift and lift the Super B into the garage. And there we have it, backed into the corner again. And I really want to take a test drive with this thing, but I don't dare, especially now we don't have a radiator, but without brakes. I drove the Chevelle, the 69 Chevelle, and lost the brakes during the drive, but I don't know why. This must roll easier or something. And also the seat is just sliding backwards and forwards. I bolted it down on the right side, and because on the left side we don't have anything, and the right side seat track is just going back and forth. So it's really hard to drive a manual car when your seat is not bolted down correctly. So yeah, but I just want to take this. And you know, when you have a turbo diesel, and you're driving at a low RPM and you floor it, and obviously diesels aren't often that quick to accelerate, and you're building up spool with the turbo, and then you shift pretty early and you get that spool noise, and yeah, it's just amazing. I don't know why, it's just so silly, but I love it. But yeah, my plan right now, and plans change, but this is what I'm going with right now. Del Camino, we take an approximate 2-week break, and we will work on the Super B and my friend's truck, and I will be buying that frame in the meantime, and then we tear this all apart, see what we need, bushings and brakes and all of that, order that, put the frame together, and then we're gonna fix the body. And I want to try and not make this a super big restoration, and I want to drive this thing all year round, and that's my plan. I want to be able to drive this in the winter without having that too much of a bad conscience. So maybe not do all those super original floor pans and all that, just make it rust free and drive it, just cover it in some sort of rust protection and enjoy it. So yeah, that's the plan, at least for now. But anyway, leave the El Camino for now, and now we're gonna lift the Super B into the garage. And there we have the Super B in the garage, and the 70 Dodge B-body Coronet Super B, Coronet RT, I've never been a fan of them, but the more I look on this thing, it's so badass. I like it more and more. And the thing is about this thing, I haven't even really experienced this in any way. I got it on a transport, I put it away, it was cold, I was doing other stuff, so I haven't looked at this thing. You haven't seen more of this than I have. So, or I mean, I haven't seen more of this than you have. So I have opened the door, I have seen some rust. If you think my other projects are rusty, you're gonna enjoy this. I have peeked through the trunk lid and seen, and I mean, I haven't even gotten the hood open properly yet. The driver's side hood hinge is rusted. The passenger side opens and the hood is folding in half. So I've been I haven't even been able to open the hood properly to see the engine. I know the previous owner had the hood off, so obviously we can remove it somehow, but we will look at that next week. But as I say, I haven't really seen this much, and I would really like to look at it now, but I am going to hold myself so that next week we can experience this thing together, and you can see my honest reaction when I look at it, and we can assess the situation of the engine. And in a best case scenario, this thing is driving out of here before next week is over. But it can also be that the engine is seized beyond what we can get unstuck. The previous owner told me that it was stuck, but he has only tried to turn it over by the crank bolt in the front, and said that it wasn't moving. But I mean, I have gotten seized engines to free up before, and you get a lot more leverage on the flywheel. So maybe we can get it to turn over, or maybe it's seized and the project will get to a pretty fast halt. But I guess that will be next week's issues. But yeah, either way, I'm super happy what we have achieved this week. The El Camino, that has been not gonna say a burden, but I owned it before. I sold it because I didn't really want to mess with it, and now it's back, and it has been sitting for 15 years, and now it's finally running and driving. We can just go out there, put in a battery, drive it in here whenever we want to work on it. And as I talked about before, my main goal this year is to get my fleet running, and at least backyard drivable, and we have achieved that. So we have achieved our first goal, and maybe by next week we have achieved one more. And if we can do that, there is only 2 more vehicles that currently isn't running and driving. And yeah, we'll see if we can get all the fleet running and driving. And now that I moved stuff around, I feel that it was pretty empty here in my backyard, and I only have 9 vehicles at the moment, which I feel is great. I want to stay under 10 vehicles. But yeah, there are some cars on the horizon that I would like to buy, that I'm trying to hold off, but we'll see whatever comes in the future. But I have some good projects to work on, so I don't need more. But anyway, that will be all. I hope you have a great weekend, and I will be back on Monday when we're gonna work on the Super B.